come again, back again. It's me again, Simon. How is everyone? How's everyone doing? It's fantastic to be here, and it's fantastic to see you all. And yeah, we're gonna go and get into it in a minute. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Let me just line it up a little bit. I want to do something different today, and I'm gonna go and do a little Instagram live. As you know, I think it's always something fun to do. It's always good to try different things. And yeah, I'm a lover of trying to do new things. So yeah, I hope everyone's had a fantastic week. I hope everyone's done well. I hope everyone's really been going at it. And yeah, I mean, we are close to Easter and we're close to lockdown lifting, and it'd be great to literally just go to a shop. So I'm sure everyone's excited. And if you're on the other side of the world, then I guess maybe you're not in any kind of lockdown measure. So that's fun for you. But we're going to get into it in a minute. And today, you know, we're going to get in. Let me just pull up some stuff, as I like to do. Let's put up some banners. Here we go. That's it. If you guys don't already know, please, guys, smash a like on the button. If you haven't shared or subscribed, then please share and subscribe. And today we will be talking about award-winning body language. That's what I'm gonna be sharing with you guys today. So just bear with me. I was gonna try this Instagram live thing. I just want to try it. I got some inspiration from some people I watch on LinkedIn. If you don't already want to check out someone, check out Richard Moore. He's a very good guy, and I follow a lot of his stuff. But yes, this is what we're gonna be doing. Bear with me 1 sec. Let's try this. I want to try and see how it works. It may not work properly. It may work properly. Who knows? But I just like to try. Okay. Come on, recognize me. All right, here we go. Let's just do it like this first. Check my connection. All right. So, just going to try and do this. See how it goes. Okay. Very difficult to do, evidently. So, yeah, where am I? Let's try this again. Great. I don't know what's happening with that. So we may have to put that to the side because it's not really working as I would like, but that's all good. So we recapped last week. So last week I was talking about interview process, and I was talking about the steps that you would need to take to really come across successful in an interview. And I did more or less an overview, talking about first impressions, talking about, you know, your body language briefly, talking about how you go about answering questions and the processes you should do in order to be as successful as possible. And today I will be talking in depth on what I think is amazing body language. So I'm going to be using myself as a model to demonstrate that today. So before we go on, I think I just want to share something that I really believe is very key in becoming really successful during an interview. Now, a lot of the things that take place in an interview, I feel the best way to prepare ultimately is to really be focusing on improving yourself. And, you know, there's various ways to do that. But I would say the best way to do that would be to, number one, I would say you got to invest in reading, invest in, you know, some skills, invest in potentially doing something you've never done before. I feel like these things are incredibly important, because if you don't invest in yourself and you're not trying to expand, you're not trying to really push yourself to that next level of growth just in yourself, I feel like those things are things that potentially are felt in an interview. You know, I think to myself of, you know, just last week I did a careers panel at my university that I attended. And when I was there and I was looking at the panel, I was thinking to myself, like, what? Like, how is it possible that I am here on this panel? And if I was to go back to where I was in university and the things I was thinking, I would never would have thought that I would be on a panel, a career panel, or even be, you know, be talking about something of value. And it just goes to where I was then in terms of my growth and where I am now. And I feel like if I didn't, you know, go through things, I didn't improve, I didn't work on myself, then how would I be able to get to that level? And it even goes back to even things I've applied for. You know, what you read, what you see, what you take in is going to determine the kind of roles you're going to go for. It's going to determine the kind of confidence you're gonna have. You know, how you're going to connect with someone. I feel like a lot of the things that we see and read and we hear, they play a massive part in our self as a person. So I would say make sure you invest in yourself. I think that's the most important thing that I would want anyone to take from anything I say today. You are the most important thing that you can bring to any company. And I feel like for you to be that person that stands out, ultimately it's you as a personality, as a person, because there is no one else like you. There's never going to be another person like you. So I think the best thing to do is bring your best foot forward, and just bring the best. So that leads me on to body language, award-winning body language. How do you get that? What does that look like? And we're going to be going over that today. So, like I mentioned last week, 93% of communication is via body language. Now, I mean, that's an incredible stat, that, you know, that the way that we feel, the way our bodies is telling a story more than the things that's coming out of our mouth. And I think that is why I wanted to do a session just on body language, because that tells me, just from that number, that we should be, or more so, the body has an influence on the people that we're around, the things that we feel, the things that we are, the way that we stand, the way that we move. It has an effect, especially if it's something that it's something that as beings we can communicate with our bodies, which is an incredible thing. So let's start with what is actually body language. So I've got it written here. Body language is the range of non-verbal signals that you use to communicate your feelings and intentions. These include your facial expressions, your hand gestures, and your posture. Now, that's incredible, because, you know, when it comes to, you know, your body language, it's actually telling us the things that we need to really be working on, and it really sets us up for the rest of the discussion. So, like I said last week, when you're walking into an interview, when you're coming to meet an employer, you have more or less 10 seconds for that employer to have an impression about you. So, I watched something last week, and honestly, I thought it was incredible. And I love the way that he said, there's no such thing as being on time. There's only early or late. You choose. Now, I feel in order for you to have the impression that you want, and in your control, I would say get there early, because you want to be able to control that situation very, very well. And the impression starts as soon as you walk through those doors. Like, as soon as you walk through those doors, you need to really practice just even your walk. Like, let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this one. So, as you can see, I'm gonna come up a little bit. How you really want to be walking. This is not okay. Maybe it's like this. Cool. How you really want to be walking is you want to be really like your head like almost if it's pulled from the top of your head here, and you want to have your shoulders back, nice and relaxed. This kind of stance shows that you are confident in yourself, and almost as if you have something important to say, or you're someone of value. So when you walk into those doors, you want to be like, hey, my name is Simon. I'm here to see so-and-so and so for my interview at 11 o'clock. You want to be nice, but you want to be sharp and concise. That is really going to have an impression, because, some people don't really know that a lot of the employers and hire managers will ask the people, that's the secretary, what did you feel from that person? How was the person? How did they feel when they walked in? So you want to be able to do that from the jump. So that when you walk in, you're really, really nice. You really got to get your chest up, your shoulders nice and back and relaxed, your head up. It's really going to play a massive part in how you come across. Also as well, just before I carry on, if you haven't been to some of my previous ones, I always say, because of the feed that is delayed, if you do have any questions, because I do a live Q&A towards the end, then please throw them in the comments so that I can see, and then I'll be able to answer those questions at the end of this short presentation. So, what would I say? Okay, so I've talked about how you're greeting receptionists. Now, when the employer comes down to the reception to come and pick you up, and you signed up to your sheet, you've got your LEA, your actual thing that's going to get you through the gates. You've got all of those things. When you meet the employer, you really want to give that impression off immediately. And like they said before, there were things that you want to be able to really express from the jump. Your facial expressions, your hand gestures, and your posture. So when you are going to shake someone, you really want to like almost like smile with your face, You don't have to be like, because that's a little bit crazy, but you want to really, really give that face that's like, it's almost like your pores are smiling. You don't have to literally be smiling, but you can be just this face that I'm doing alone is inviting, like, okay, this person looks excited to be here. He's there's a sort of eagerness to it. And that's kind of what you want to have, that you want to be like, I'm excited to be here. I'm eager to get to know you, and for you to get to know me. That's kind of how you want to be. But when you do that handshake, make sure that your hand isn't like floppy. Like, it cannot be that way. Whether you're a woman or whether you're a guy, you don't need to, vice grip the guy's hand off or the lady's hand off. You just needs to be firm, so that it shows that you're present, and that you're confident, And obviously you want to give that lightness to your face that shows that, you know what, I want to be here and I'm very interested in working for you and with you. And those are the things that I think are really, really important, and it's a good way to start off the interview process. So some other things that I found and some other things that I want to really go on about, which is really cool. And that is, yes, so you're in the interview now. Now, I spoke about it last week, and let's talk about sitting, how you sit. Now, you don't want to be sitting like this and someone's talking, because if you're sitting like this, you're only going to give off the vibe that you're not really interested and you don't really care what this person is actually saying to you. So I would always say you would want to have almost like your bum to like the back of the chair in the corner, and you want to kind of lean forward. So as you lean forward, again, you want to have your chest up, you want to have your shoulders relaxed, and I would say have your hands like this. I think it's really, really good, because if you're nervous and you're one of those people that's like scratching and doing all these kind of things, it could come across distracting to the employer, but also it will throw you off. So I would say holding your hands is very, very good. Or if you want to hold on to the arms of the chair, you can do, but I don't know. I think it can kind of come across a little bit nervous. I think holding your hands like this is very, very good. With your fingers like this, I think it's very, very good, because it will set you up for the other things that I want to discuss. And I probably should just go straight into it. And that is your hand gestures. Now, hand gestures to me are very, very, very important. I use them a lot, and it's given me so much confidence when I use my hands. If I didn't use my hands, I could feel like I'm offbeat. When I was preparing yesterday, I came up with the concept that the hands are like the metronome to the beat. And if anyone knows a metronome is the thing that keeps you in beat. It's the so always, for a musician, that's the thing that's going to keep them in beat, regardless of what it is that they do. They have this thing that's going to bring them back to, ground zero. So for me, it's the same thing with my hands. Now, your hand is an extension of the words that you're saying. So I almost see it as it's poetry in motion. So when you use your hands, you're able to speak, and it kind of gravitates more. It's almost like, like in Word, when you highlight a word and then you press bold, it's like that. It just gives it more emphasis. It makes it bigger and larger than if you just had no words. So like if I was just speaking to you guys now without no hands, it's really dry and it becomes really like 2D, almost fake. But when I use hands, it just adds more character, more flavor, more seasoning into what it is that you're saying, and ultimately more value. So that's what you want to do, because it will keep the employer engaged as well, because you have to bear in mind, you're probably not the first person they've seen asking the same kind of questions and hearing it. It's going to be quite boring for them. So you want to be able to show your enthusiasm with your hands, but not too much. You don't want to sound too crazy or appear too crazy, but you want to show that that your body and your voice are saying the same thing. Another thing about hands another technique that a lot of big speakers use when using your hands is you want to show the palms of your hands, because ultimately when you show the palms of your hands, what that does is that it shows an element of trust, shows an element of openness, and it shows that you're sincere. So when you are using your hands, do show your palms. Obviously don't make it like, speak to the hand. Obviously not. But really emphasize your words. Especially when you're maybe when you're homing in on something that's quite close or something that's quite personal, really use your hands and your palms as a way to enforce and to support your sincerity, so that you build that rapport, which is ultimately what you want. Another thing that I would say people should do when you're in an interview to, have that award-winning effect is you want to have eye contact. Eye contact is very, very good because it shows that you're confident, but it also shows that you're also open. The saying goes that the eyes is the gateway to the soul. So, if you're keeping eye contact, it's almost like you're naked in front of the employer. You're obviously not physically naked, but there's that element of vulnerability. That's the best word. Vulnerability when you are, sharing that eye contact. The trick that I would say to maintain eye contact and kind of give different angles is to not necessarily keep eye contact with the employer, but is to look at different parts of the face, almost like, like you can look at like a clock. You can look at the forehead, the 12. Then you look at the nose, the 6. Then you look at one eye or the other eye, just to really show that variation. That it's not just, you want to be able to show that variation. Another thing I would say is that if you are talking to a panel, make sure that you're doing it with all 3 of them. Don't, ghost, one person and you're just focusing on one person. Make sure that you're keeping eye contact with everybody in the room, and and that's a really good way of keeping the attention of the employer. Another one that's really, really good is when they are talking, make sure you're nodding your head. This thing is very, very good because what that does is that it's almost like, like it's something like when you've had, I don't know, like a good meal or you've heard a good song, or it's like, wow, this is something to almost like to my soul, or something that's of good value to me. And that's what you want to say. Even if they're asking you a question, really to have that, it doesn't have to be, but you want to have it nice and subtle, even if it's they've asked a question and then you can respond afterwards and be like, and that can lead you on into the things that you want to say. So nodding your head is a very good way of demonstrating, that you are listening and that you are interested. Another thing that I would say is, this one, really, really good one. Another really good one is to breathe deeply. I've noticed myself sometimes when you are in an interview and you've been asked a question, sometimes, let me take my glasses off because it is a bit messy. But sometimes when you're in an interview, it can be, it could sometimes like put you on the back foot, and then you can sometimes start like breathing. And then when you're talking, it's almost like you lose your breath and you're like, how on earth did I lose my breath? So really take deep breaths, really slow down your heart rate. If you know how to do that, that's fantastic. If you don't, just really take really deep breaths, especially when they're asking you something. That's your time to really take deep breaths and nodding your head as they're talking, just to give that, that response to what it is that they're saying. And then on the exhale, you want to be able to talk and really say what it is that they're asking you and really articulate yourself in the best way, without really cutting that momentum because you've lost breath. So that's a really, really good way. Another good thing is depending on if there's a table, if there's no table, make sure that your feet are on the floor. Try not to fiddle with your feet too much, because again, it is very, very distracting. And you want to be able to stay still. Again, use your hands. Your hands is the thing that's gonna really give you the thing, really give you the pace at which you want to take the interview, and the pace that you feel like you want to exhibit at the interview. Another really good thing is you want to do is try to mirror the employer. So you know, if the employer is a little bit more chilled, then take that tone down as well. With your body language, obviously still maintain a really nice frame. Don't do any of this stuff and you're bringing your shoulders in. Don't do that, because this more appears like you're being told off and someone's forced you to be here like a child. You want to be able to, keep your shoulders back, keep your head high, and really maintain that connection. So that's definitely something there for you. I had one more that I wanted to really, really share on top of that. And that is, I talked about that. Again, guys, if you haven't put your questions already in the comments, please do put your comments in the page. Lean in. And I guess just to conclude, when I was speaking about leaning in is also another, again, a really good technique, especially when you're coming to, let's say, an achievement. I've used it constantly, even without me realizing, and it's a good way to really enforce. So, just like I did there, just naturally, I lent in when I said enforce, because it really does enforce something on the person. It has an impact on the person that is listening. So, really, practice. I think that's the best way for me to conclude on this section of award-winning body language, because we can all improve. I'm still practicing. I'm still working on trying to improve and be the best I can be at talking and at public speaking. But when you are speaking, really, even look at some of the presenters that you watch. Maybe it's Instagram or YouTube or any motivational speaker. Really watch what they're saying and really see how their body is moving and how gracefully it is, and just really start to replicate and practice that. And it won't be long before you start seeing the massive benefits of having award-winning body language. It's not a destination, it's a process, and we're all getting there. So I hope that was fantastic. And now I'm going to open up the floor, as I always do, to the comments. And I look forward to seeing what's up today. All right, let me see. So if you do have any comments, please do leave a comment. It'd be great to hear if you have any kind of questions about what I've said, or if it's anything to do about careers or jobs in any which way that I can help you, then of course, please let me know, and I will be able to, help in the best way I know how to. So yeah, please do leave something. Anybody? All right. My apologies before earlier, guys. I did try to do this Instagram thing. I wanted to try and work it earlier, but I couldn't, unfortunately. But yes, if there aren't any questions today, then that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But I will call it there. I would, again, want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming and for listening to me. It's obviously great to have you. I would love doing this show. I love sharing information, and I love helping people as much as I can. But yeah, if you do like it and it has been of great value to you, please do smash a like on the button, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, I will call it there. Have a good night. Have a phenomenal week. And I will be back next Wednesday with some next punchlines and info that's going to help you get to where you need to get to. Good night and God bless. Ooh. Okay.